Ladies and gentlemen, this is a new level for me because my ad was seen on Instagram by none other than the incredibly famous Smooth on the Tracks. The ladies are dying for him, but he's taken. Episode number 5 of Learning by Doing. This is my first guest on the podcast, and I've been more excited. Honestly, I've been waiting to get this second microphone. But, dude, from the bottom of my heart, I genuinely can't think of anyone that encompasses Learning by Doing more than Parker Andrees. I have to tell that before I let you talk, I have to tell you the story. I think this is when I met you, dude. This is back when I was still going to college. I was still hanging in there, and there's an entrepreneur building or program at the U called Lassonde, and I march in there for the first time, and this was it was pretty new at the time.
Is that within the first couple months?
Right. Yeah.
Of the building being open.
I at this point I'd owned Thirst for maybe 2 years. It was pretty early. I was obviously curious about entrepreneurship. I was really just getting fired up about being an entrepreneur. I've always loved it for forever, but I was super pumped. These last 4 or 5 years, I've really been oh, this is cool to be an entrepreneur. I want to be. This is so much fun, This is more than I could have ever imagined. So, anyways, naturally, I'm excited to check out Lassonde. They have a salesperson, pretty much a welcome person, as you would, approach you as soon as you come in the building. It's none other than Parker Andrees, and we connected right off the bat. He told me about his DJ business. He'll tell you about it, but DJ Alive is his company. He is DJ Alive, the personal brand, and super successful DJ. I've worked with him literally for my events, but also we were in a fraternity together. Anyways, I've said enough. Parker, tell everyone about yourself.
My man, thank you. My face is already hurting from smiling. Gosh, there's so much to discuss there. That memory was deep in my brain from when we first met. It was you got it.
I'm always making content.
Always making content. This is the content king right here and the content queen. But no, it's an absolute pleasure, and the feelings are more than mutual. I've been DJing now for 8 years and have been doing entrepreneurial type things since I was in second grade. And I've known Ethan for 16, almost 4 years now. And without a doubt in my mind, one of the most hardworking, driven, it's almost incredibly intimidating individuals. I truly mean that. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to chop it up.
Well, dude, tell us. I want everyone to really know what you're working on. So tell us pitch us DJ Alive. Tell us what you are.
So, I am DJ Alive. I get to DJ and party for a living. It's my full-time job. I own an entertainment company called Alive Entertainment, and I launched that summer 2012, and it's been my full-time job for the past about 3-4 years. Every DJ has their own style, their own flavor, their own spin on things, no pun intended. And mine is centered in bringing the energy, really understanding the energy and reading the room and the dance floor and feeding and building off that tone to get it to where you want it to be, and everyone's just losing their minds on the dance floor. So high school dances, weddings, corporate events, fraternity parties, anything and everything.
So just so you guys know, this guy is busy, and he's a premier DJ. He really is good. He's gotten, I don't know, you've gotten some premier gigs at some pretty dope clubs downtown and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Sky, you've played out, right?
Yes.
Okay. And name a couple others. Come on.
Sky is
shows at Ibiza.
Ibiza, yep. Sky, Ibiza, Twist.
So he's the real deal, dude. I'm actually pumped because when you were talking, it's funny when you talk about your product. I can tell you're passionate about it, and Like, I have this napkin of places we wanted to go, just some very higher top of the funnel topics. Immediately my mind goes to how passionate I am about there being a really strong exchange of value between me and my customer. And I could tell just when you were talking that you feel the exact same way about your services for your clients. To give you like a little more info is, dude, I think there's like the sweet spot in business, like the sweetest spot in business is when there's the utmost value on the business side and the consumer side. Meaning Parker's Peanuts, the company, is making their peanuts are so damn good that everyone around wants to eat them. And when these customers eat them, they're like the best peanuts ever. They're like, oh my gosh, Parker's Peanuts are the best. And they paid, $3, $4, $5 for them. And they're like, for the money I could have spent on anything else, these Parker's Peanuts were the best peanuts ever. And I really feel like I got my money's worth. On the flip, so that's the consumer side, right? On the flip side, you being the CEO of Parker's Peanuts you probably have amazing margins on a $3, $4 bag of peanuts. And, maybe you have a happy team and you did good marketing and it all led into this profitable execution of selling Parker's Peanuts. And you got the most value and you're so stoked about it. And as the CEO of Parker's Peanuts, you're completely content with your wealth and sales. Like, that's where the sweet spot in business is, where everyone's super happy after the sale and everyone both feels good about the money they spent or earned. They feel good about the product. And dude, like that, sometimes I actually say to Rachel a lot or to my managers, like, no, I don't want to do that because I really don't feel like that brings my customer value. And so I feel like that's one thing that's unique about me as an entrepreneur. I don't care about the money or the margin being so much greater that it takes away from the value, because then you're not in the sweet spot. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, to put it into like practical terms for Thirst, like, should we use a cheaper packaging when serving beignets? If it might be a little messy for the customer or it might not look as good, but we're making way better margins on it. Yeah. That doesn't feel as good to me as spending a little bit more, but having, a really concealed perfect thing to go out the window in the drive-thru and everyone's happy about it and the customer's even that much more happy. One, I know, and I'm going to stop talking in a second, but one, I know it's the right move because that's the sweet spot and you did right by the customer. It feels good, right? Mm-hmm. Second, I know that it's also the best business move. Like, if I go with that more expensive packaging, I might lose 10 cents every sale today, but I'm going to get long-term customers that, are eventually going to equate to way more than that, that extra margin. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely following.
Did I read that right about you? Do you care a lot about like the success of these events?
Man, you're a wizard and I love it. Yes, 110%. Yeah, there's so many elements to touch on there. As I've taken the step to become more committed, like as a full-time DJ, and have grown and learned within my business, within my craft, and more the operational and client relationship kind of thing, I've found that as I build a stronger relationship with my client, being a couple or my point of contact for this large corporate event, if I have a stronger relationship with them, I feel more confident with basically the scope for what's going to happen. I can execute my job that much more clearly and confidently. I think that was one minor point to what you were getting at.
Well, and at the end of the day, that makes you feel good, right?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. There it is. When I have the opportunity to work and do my thing as a DJ, I don't necessarily look at it as like a job I'm going to work. the nights which I always aim for that leave me, loading the gear and getting back in my car and getting home at 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning and thinking I have the most awesome job ever, or the ones when I have literally gave every
Everything
ounce
you
of
got.
myself to provide the best possible service, and 9 times out of 10 that always shows, and maybe it's just on the dance floor or the client sees it, and it's just a confirmation that what I'm doing is very validated, and there is an awesome market for it, and others can see the quality of service that I'm able to bring to the table. And when it's mutual, and they can see it, they can feel it, they can experience it, that is what gets me hyped about it. So
Right, dude, because you put everything into your business just like I do, like everything. Like everything. You know what I mean? And when it works, holy shit, dude. Like when the people actually book the event and they're actually stoked, or my store is actually packed. I'm going to look at the numbers at the end of the night. I'm like, people chose to spend their hard-earned money, that much of it, tonight at our store. Like, that's insane. It's an insane feeling. That got me thinking, right, when you were talking about that too. Do you feel like with your entrepreneurship side of your life, like you're kind of playing a game? Do you ever feel like that?
Kind of playing a game.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm playing a game of entrepreneurship, and I don't know how similar our DNA is in the terms of being competitive, but I'm insanely competitive, and it.
No, he's not competitive at all.
No. Side note story. Yesterday, I was in a swimming competition.
I saw that.
I was challenged by the mayor of Mill Creek, the local weatherman, and the captains of the Skyline swim team to a Speedo-wearing race in the pool. I did win, but I definitely puked in the bathroom afterwards because I was so damn exhausted. That happened yesterday. Anyways, we're talking about the game. I really genuinely, like, when I don't like to say, like, I feel like I'm playing a game in life, even though my work is my whole life, because I feel like when I say that, and not that I ever have the chance to say that, but I'm just saying, I definitely take parts of my life that aren't work super seriously, like, my relationships, like my family, like, my health, but really I feel like the large majority of my life is playing this game of entrepreneurship. And also, I take the part of the game that are serious very seriously. Like, at this point, I have over 100 employees. It's very serious to me whether or not I can make payroll. That's insane. It's insane. And it's like it's an insane amount of pressure, by the way. Like, that specific one right there, while running a startup business, and I'm sure there are plenty of other people who have been in the same position, but I'm telling you, I am in the thick of it right now. It's one of the scariest things of all time, making payroll every other week. Even if you're well-funded, even if you're doing well, like, to me, that's one of the scariest things of all time when you're in startup mode, which means, to me, reinvesting pretty much everything you have back into the company for it to grow. Like, that's one of the most serious things ever. So I do take the fact that multiple people, this is their full-time job, their life, their livelihood depends on the salary. Also, one of the main things is the fact that we all, me and my top managers all of my managers are working more than 40 hours a week. So they're spending, 50 hours of their week at Thirst. It is a massive part of their life. So I feel an entitlement for it to be a great culture and something that, like, they're learning from and something that is making them better. Or, that's a huge pressure for me. But outside of taking those few, things very, very seriously, I really look at it like every day. Like, I'm so excited. I'm excited just to put on my Thirst shirt, which I've previously called my jersey, and just go after it. And especially when I'm playing a lot of offense, which is to me is like, how can I make the business better? How can I do more marketing? Going on the offense. I feel like I'm playing a game, dude. I'm like, I have competitors, which are, it just reminds me of like a sport in high school, like any sport or NFL sport, whatever like that. Like, you have competitors, you practice, you have big days, like you have teammates. Like, it feels like a game to me. I don't know. Maybe that's just the way I feel like it, though.
I'm definitely have been hearing you and agreeing with you. I want to address a few things that you mentioned there. So, Ethan, you're 23 years old, and you have over 100 team members. That
Now, granted, most of them are part-time, but
I mean, nonetheless, I can't fathom what that would feel like to be able to ensure you're meeting that quota for payroll. And I think that that's very admirable. I want to also acknowledge that you are, I mean, these managers that are working over 40 hours a week, like, that is such an opportunity that you are providing for those team members in my eyes. Like, I view it that way, and I think that is awesome. The other point I wanted to address was the offense that you mentioned earlier. I pulled that from you. Took that from you for my business, like in the past month or two, because I found myself.
Because I've been talking about that. Yeah,
you've been talking about it.
Tweeting about it or whatever.
What's up?
Or tweeting about it or whatever I did. I can't remember.
Yeah. I found myself not intentionally scheduling time to play offense for my business, and I mean, we're kind of doing it right now, essentially, right? We're doing it right now, and so.
Tell them more what playing offense is. You know what I mean?
But what more?
Define playing offense.
Playing offense within my DJ.
Yeah. Okay. Just so, example.
And then I do want to address the game thing as well. But playing offense within my DJing is, similar to content creation. I just launched my brand new website, bringingtheenergy.com. We could chat about that a little bit. But a specific concrete example is scheduling the time to critically sit down and write out my monthly blog posts that I'm doing. To shed light on some of the behind the scenes of DJ Alive from when I was a 16-year-old kid up until now as a 25-year-old college student. Holding myself accountable to that monthly post or my monthly mix that I release or my weekly Instagram post or communicating with clients. We are 6 months out, we are 4 months out, we are 2 weeks out from your day. Those are some specific examples of offense. Does that make sense?
Perfectly makes sense. I mean, what are we doing right now? To your point, it's almost 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, and we're at my store because we finally got a second for him to come by and chat a couple days ago. And we were just talking about offensive strategies, right? We were talking, which I had wrote down on my napkin that we need to talk about. But let's just go there. Okay, offense, basically, how I originally brought it up was how can you get more people to the store? How can the experience be better? How can you become more popular? How can you grow? Like offense, how can you score? How can the team score? And so, that's one of my biggest strategies, is always staying on the offense. But let's talk about it, because one thing I wrote down is I want to know what you're doing from a content perspective, from a marketing perspective in general. What are you doing? You just mentioned your website that you just redid, and then I know you're doing a blog. Tell me about it.
So right now I have made the goal for myself to have at least, at the very minimum, a brand new blog post every month. And this might stray away from your question just a little bit, Ethan, but my purpose for creating this blog is for two particular reasons, and one is which for potential clients, customers that are looking to book a DJ, to have a more concrete understanding of who they're going to be bringing on as a part of their special event, their big day. But just as equal, maybe even more of a reason is to again shed light on the early days of DJ Alive and learning by doing, and establishing myself a little bit more as an entrepreneur and sharing what I've learned from and how I failed and how I've progressed past that. Heath, you're gonna have to.
You're fine.
Bring me back in, man.
You're fine. I'm thinking about. I know, I get it. Listen, one thing I wanted to go into was something I've just been thinking a ton about. Is I'm gonna stall for 1 second because while Rachel set this up. You're fine. I can just edit it out.
Sorry, man. I really channel in right now.
Okay. Good.
You good? Okay. So we were talking about offensive strategies.
Yes.
I did something on one of my biggest strategies is that whether you're a business, a personal brand, a soap company, a cracker company, or a drink and pretzel company, number one thing that you need to do in your marketing is mix it up. Put some human faces behind it. Let your customers know that there is a real person, behind the business. And so literally, sometimes I'll even just look at the Thirst Instagram feed. I'll look at the last 4, 5, 6 posts, and I'll text Rachel. I'm like, we need to mix more human into this. Let's post a TikTok to the feed. Let's post, a funny video. Let's put, faces, just like a cute girl face in the whatever. One of the strategies I did over the weekend was one strategy I did over the weekend is it's really been hitting me because we have a competitor just down the road, very close to us, right? And right when we opened the store, we were getting so much business that they couldn't have been getting much at all, and it was very clear. You drive by, there was literally nothing. And since then, it's almost kind of leveled out, and someone's like, okay, people are kind of choosing what their favorite thing is, what they like most about each brand, and that's really awesome. And I'm like, gee, but I really want to please everyone. I want to be the best possible experience ever. And I'm not mad at them, but I would just genuinely be willing to do anything to be their number one choice.
I hear you.
So I get on the Thirst Instagram. Did you see this?
No.
Dude, you didn't see this?
No, please.
Okay, so I get on the Thirst Instagram, and I put up a story that's like, leave me your feedback. Anything way we can be better. I want to hear it. It was like one of those question stickers. Dude, we got hundreds. Hundreds.
You were trying to respond?
Hundreds.
I can imagine.
I responded in a video form to every single one of them. So I put this story up, and then the next day I responded. And then once I started responding to all of them, I started getting flooded with more and more and more. So I did as much as I possibly could, but I did well over 100. And some of them were very savage, Your cookies are shit. Or, a lot of, but almost all of it was true. It was almost all things oh yeah, I identify that as a weakness too. And some of them I didn't know before, and it was awesome. But I get on the story, and some of them were, we go to Swig now because this. I just posted it on our 22,000 follower Thirst Instagram story with my face in front of the camera. And I was like, hey, I'm really sorry about this. And I deployed, what I did in these stories is some kind of the reason I had this idea is a leadership tactic that I am trying to exercise myself as much as possible, but that is proving to be one of the hardest things of all time. And I wanted to test it with this theory, which is, and the tactic is, deploy humility in all situations and make zero excuses. Take full accountability. Have 110% complete humility. Do not make an excuse for anything. Take accountability and fix it. So I've been having this strategy, and I'll give you an example of how I've been doing it, with my managers and my team and everything. But I'm like, I'm just gonna take all this feedback and I'm gonna go on the story and not make one single excuse the whole time. I didn't make a single one. Yeah, and so I just go on there because really, why would I? It doesn't do any good. It really doesn't. Like, why? And so I had so many things I felt like in theory I could have said, but what's the point? What, am I trying to prove someone wrong?
How does it serve?
It doesn't do anything. It only slows me down. It literally only slows me down. And so I go on there and I didn't make a single excuse. I deployed all humility and I just owned every single L on there. And I'm like, hey, this is my fault. We should have done this better. Should have talked to the team about doing this. And for hundreds of them. And dude, it's been the response, and it wasn't designed this way necessarily, but the, brand loyalty that Thirst gained from that little campaign I did was insane. Like, we have hundreds and hundreds of DMs that are people responding to the feedback, and I have hundreds on my personal account right now. And the strategy really is like I just wanted to test this strategy because I've been using it in my business, and it's so hard. It's when something goes wrong, and I'm not fully executing this. Like, there's no way I'm perfect at it. I'm like really trying to hone in on it. But over the last year, I've really noticed like the best solution when something goes wrong. No one shows up for their shift. The cinnamon rolls didn't get baked. A catering event gets wrong. We have to refund the entire amount. The post didn't get posted for the collaboration that we're doing. Whatever it may be. And some of them are serious, or, a lot of the times, inventory gets spoiled and wasted or ordered wrong, and it costs thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I really did do this before, pointing the fingers at it, whether it be one of my employees or one of my managers or a lower level employee or the customer. It's been the slowest strategy of all time. And lately, and I can't remember what kicked me onto this, but I'm like, what if I just take on all of this? I mean, it's pointing the finger at yourself. The idea of pointing the finger at yourself, which I've learned from a million different people. But, dude, it's been really hard, but it's been like the best strategy of all time. I'm trying to deploy with all my managers all the time. Specifically my managers. Because the relationship with my managers is like so deep for me. Like, I like to be super close with all of them, and I'm so dependent on them. I really am. Like, the success, I give them a ton of trust, and I'm super close with them, and really trying to teach them to take full accountability for their employees' mistakes, and me taking full accountability for their mistakes and their employees' mistakes. It's been the best strategy of all time, but sometimes it hurts.
And this all, correct me if I'm wrong, but this all spurred from looking at your Instagram feed and seeing we need to switch it up a little bit, mix it up, and you decided to do that poll?
Well, yeah, because really why I got into that from that marketing strategy was the amount of brand equity and brand loyalty that I gained by doing that, by putting my face in front of the camera and reminding those customers that I'm there and I'm hearing every single one of their concerns and responding to them publicly, no matter how harsh they may be. That was huge. And literally like our insights, like our Instagram insights are up like 75% of like engagement for the week, from week over week. So yeah, it started as that strategy, and then really it turned into a test of my strategy as a leader, which has been lately deploy the utmost humility and just take accountability for everything. Awesome. Not a single excuse.
That's awesome.
Before we wrap up, tell me what really has been on your mind, where you want to go, where you want to be, what you like about what's going on, what you don't, in DJ Alive's career and Parker Andrees' life. What's going on, and specifically towards even like a business perspective, like we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
Where are you at, and where do you want to be?
Oh man, so many great things to talk about. So right now, as I mentioned, I'm a student at the U. How I met Eth, and I'm about a year away from finishing up. And humbly but confidently, I am excited to be the best, most
Say it. Say it.
kick-ass DJ in the state of Utah. You know, traveling across the nation. But I say that with confidence and also humility, because I understand that every DJ brings their own, as I mentioned earlier, their own flavor and their own value to the table. Every DJ's got their own style. But right now I'm focused on finishing school, because I know that that experience, that information, that knowledge will serve me to serve others better.
What's DJ Live gonna do?
What's
Parker Andrees gonna do?
Okay, so I think I get what you're getting at. So as much as I truly enjoy the craft of DJing and playing in front of 100 to 2,500 people, what I am genuinely and truly passionate about is personal development and being my absolute best I can be in entrepreneurship. And as I continue into DJing and finish school, I hope to mix my experience of DJing and entrepreneurship into some form of coaching and mentorship, and potentially even writing and speaking. I love working with people, and I want to help people become their absolute best selves. And I know that my 8 years of DJing, while I am a 25-year-old kid, comes with a lot of value. And with that value, I know that within myself as Parker Andrees, I am here to serve others, and I think that I can do that combining my DJing and my love for entrepreneurship and connecting with people. So that's my honest answer. It's very bold, but I mean that with humility and uncertainty, but also I'm 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, like I'm amped. So
Me too.
yeah.
I love it.
Did that answer your question,
Dude,
man?
you nailed it. That's exactly what I was looking for. I don't even have anything to say.
So yeah.
Learning by doing, like I said, totally
Yes.
encompassed by Parker, and totally what we're going for. So this is wrapping it up. Episode 5. It's been amazing. Parker, thank you.
Thank you. I couldn't say enough great things about Mr. Cisneros over here. So thank you, Ethan.
We'll see everyone next time.
Did I? Is that all right?
That was awesome,
Is that all right?
dude. That was awesome.
Hey, thank you, man.
That was sick.
Sorry, my batteries were not up to 100%.